Happy Socialist Sunday, people, and welcome to the Sunday livestream. Here on my left eye, I'm your host, Lefty. Thanks for joining me to see out the week. You're all very welcome here this evening. Another night of political discussion and peering behind the curtains to check for mushroom clouds. It's all go at the moment. Just before I came on the stream, there were confirmed retaliatory attacks by Iran on Haifa. I'm going live to that and discussing the Iran versus Israel war, question mark, is it war? Yeah, that's happening as we speak. And we've got Stu in the chats, number one. Odin Allfather, great to see you as well. Ruth. Doc Davies. Happy Socialist Sunday to you all. Yep, and we're getting dragged into this further now, and it looks like America are, and China, and Pakistan, and holy shitballs. This could be really bad, people. So we'll see what the latest is. I've got some recent commentary and stuff, videos, clips and whatnot coming up. I put a video out earlier in the day as well about Zippy's been out again. This time on Laura Kussenberg, so please do check out that recent vid if you want my 2 cents on that appearance. It's just a snippet from the appearance, but pretty classic Israeli spokes. Classically bad, that is. Let's hear that again. Herbie. Time to introduce Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics, the Sunday livestream house band. The 4-piece will be playing this catchy number over and over again in the background throughout this evening's stream. Yeah, and with so much going on, I don't know if you'd noticed this, little something came across my desk that might suggest that Elon Musk has switched sides following his recent disagreement with Donald Trump. More on that to come later. Latest updates from Gaza as well. While the mainstream media might be distracted by all this going on, and we certainly haven't forgotten about Gaza. In fact, part of this whole thing is Netanyahu trying to distract from that. They just go round and round and round. So going by the current schedule, Lebanon will be next. Please make sure you've hit thumbs up on the stream, good people, and give us a shout around your social media as well, that'd be awesome. Currently a 3-way tie at the top for the top fans, as it's called now. New feature on YouTube live streams. Or if you can actually switch it off. It's just one of those things that appeared one day. There it is. Chris, very good evening to you this evening. Happy Socialist Sunday. Yeah, we'll just all gather here and then we'll head over to Keith's Fondue Lounge. Starmer's going to be coming up a few times in the broadcast tonight, definitely. John Pullen, thanks for joining us this evening. Glad you're enjoying the jazz. We can hear that one again from Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics. And if your dog's going nuts at the moment, that's because Herbie plays at a sonic level above human hearing, but within the realm of dogs. An incredible artist. What else has been going on? Oh, of course, the Not My King demonstrations in America in reaction to Trump's birthday parade, which, shall we say, didn't go as well as he'd hoped. Oh dear. Not the great turnout that Donald was expecting. The Pumpkin Spice Palpatine being somewhat disappointed. And I've seen a few clips of it. But a great turnout at the Not My King demonstrations. I've got a couple of clips of that. I fell far short of the 200,000 that he said were going to attend the main event, which was a concert, I believe, after the parade. It's just terrible. It's just oh, so laughably bad. I will be checking that out as well. Hedy, thanks for joining us with an incredible super chat and an update as well. 3 F-35s have been shot down by Iran. Is that including the 2 from the other day, or is that recent news? That's thanks for the update. So that's your, well, at least a fraction of it, UK taxpayer money going up in flames, literally, because we still do provide parts for the F-35 here in the UK, and much worse. Or we are in this game without question. Starmer wants it, he loves it. Warmonger Keith. Thanks again for that super chat. Hedy, really do appreciate it. Ah, speaking of support for the channel, well, not that one. Speaking of support for the channel, he says, you can join with a membership for just 99p and join this incredible list of people you can see on your screen right now, the marvellous members. There's perks for you to enjoy. Be some exclusive content. You'll get early viewings on some videos as well. Static emojis and yeah, tons more. Check it out, please do. Proud to say we've surpassed the 100 member mark as well recently. Thank you very much, everybody, for your ongoing support. What a great community we've got here. And yes, Odin, I'll be going on to that matter a short amount of time as well. Just how deep the UK is into this already. So without further ado, let's bring the chat up on the screen. And let the people be seen. And there we are. Now I have made some adjustments to the broadcasting software and such. I'm hoping that that's going to be the end of the ongoing microphone issues that I had on recent streams. Unfortunately as well, the last Brews at 10 that I did is under review again. The one I did last week, that's going to stay limited because I used the C word far too much, apparently. Which I don't think is fair because it was pertinent to the topic in hand. I just wasn't under the same regulations that Trevor Phillips of Sky News was to not say it. But you only get to appeal once and no, that's it. I don't know what the deal is with the last one. I'll have to wait and see on that. Who's up for some fondue? Late Sunday supper. Let's gate crash this motherfucker. Here he is, Keithster. Sir Keir Rodney Starmer, release the sausages. Don't know if there are any sausages on the table to go with the fondue. Are there vegetarian and vegan options, Keith? Probably not. He would probably not want to get into any of that woke nonsense, as he would put it. Of course, the former leader of the opposition being a vegetarian as well, he wouldn't want to associate with that. So yeah, attacking another country because you suspect that they've got some sort of nuclear weapons capability. Does that sound familiar? I mentioned that in the video I put out earlier on today. And oh, who do we have over Keith's left shoulder, or the right shoulder as we look at it. But there he is on the wall, the picture. There he is, Tony Blair. Hutton inquiry, anyone? Chilcot inquiry, anyone? And of course, it wouldn't be complete without Peter... Peter you-know-who stood there as well. Of course, played a big part in that. Along with other professional shy-talks like Alistair Campbell. And multitude of professional ghouls to boot. So yeah, UK complicity in all of this is going to be coming up. At the same time as saying he wants things to de-escalate, Keith decided to send a shitload of jets to the Middle East. This will, of course, specifically be to help out Netanyahu. We've already had confirmed reports, which I'll go into in a short while, of refuelling of IDF Air Force craft in Cyprus, a UK Air Force base in Cyprus, as well as the spy planes. That's been going on for a while now. Just what the pissing hell is Keith getting us in for? It might be a word that rhymes with for. Well, like I said on a recent stream, I don't want to be reporting on the W word. I don't want to be reporting on this. I want to be doing a live stream that follows world peace being declared and an end to human suffering and an end to the blockade on Gaza. Positive things. But no, this is what these capitalist warmongering shills keep wanting to throw at us, and this is what we've got to take. So obviously our involvement goes hand in hand with the UK's increase in defence spending, which is going to rise to 3% of GDP by the end of the decade at least, so we're told. I'm also going to go into that in a bit more detail. I've got a great clip coming up as well from Yanis Varoufakis, great social commentator, political commentator, sociologist, who points out something that's obviously well known about the industrial military complex that the UK seems increasingly involved with, and that's the fact that once you increase your defence spending, once you increase your spending on arms, military equipment, there's only one place for it to go, because obviously where the economy is concerned, where that industrial military complex economy framework goes, is that it can't just sit around doing nothing. It's got to be put to use, and there's only one use for this kind of equipment, and unfortunately that's war. Whether it's used by the country that produces it or then sold on to other countries that will use it and have a demand for it. Supply and demand, as the clarion call of capitalism goes. So keep the world thirsty for war, and they'll soon and they won't find themselves short, I should say, of customers. It's disgusting, and look where it's got us to now. Just have another check out of the curtains. Oh my god! Oh no, it's just a normal Manchester grey cloud. But I'm on tenterhooks, people. I really am. There's other areas where Keith fits into all this as well. Just for now, though, what else did I want to mention? I do have something coming up. In fact, I'll go to this after we've finished in the lounge. Just a quick point. A comparative poll has been released. Quite interesting. Sorry, Keith, this does concern you, and he doesn't like polls. They never seem to work out for him. So he's probably going to be hiding behind that sofa in a moment. But he's been in for 300 days now, and it's going to compare his popularity to other prime ministers going pretty far back. It's got to be said. It's got to be said. And there have been some particularly unpopular Conservative prime ministers down the years as well, including Maggie Milksnatcher Thatcher, for example. You got Johnson in there, Sunak. But who's going to be the worst? Where will Keith come on this list? I'll give you a few moments, if you've not actually seen the official poll, to have a guess in the chat. Roughly whereabouts he'll sit. I guess we'll use Thatcher as the sort of control, as the benchmark of bad. So do you think roughly the same as Thatcher, a better rating than Thatcher, or a worse rating than Thatcher? I should have done a proper poll for this bit, shouldn't I? But there you go. It's just something for the live viewers. Let's keep this interactive if we can. Red F we've got in the chats as well, and Nina Sadie. A pleasure to see you both as always. Happy Socialist Sunday. We were just enjoying some slightly bitter tasting fondue. That's good fondue. So catchy, isn't it? The song. Shout out, I should say as well, to the Agitator who provides us with this scene that I use on the Sunday live streams. Go and give the Agitator a follow at Agitate4Change. That's the number 4 change, Agitate for Change, on Twitter and Blue Sky. Give us a follow while you're there at MyLeftEye UK, and we're on Mastodon as well. Get on it. Right. Well, we spent that long in Keith's Fondue Lounge that the loop ran out. So, an abrupt exit from Keith's Fondue Lounge. Extended visit because he's been a particular little bollocks this week. Let's have a look at this poll then that I mentioned. Anyone got any guesses? Anyone got any estimates of whereabouts he's going to fit in with this poll? Well, I'll tell you. Just let me get this. Who's... Yeah, it goes back. Thatcher, which is actually spelt wrong, I've just noticed in the post from Britain Elects, which I'm going to be showing in just a moment. It goes from Thatcher, obviously, to now. So everybody in between. So you'd have had John Major, after that Tony Blair, after him, of course, and then Gordon Brown is on it. Of course, he did last 300 days. He was in office for 300 days. Bear in mind as well, he had a record loss in 2010, record loss of seats, losing 91 seats. That opened the door for David Cameron, of course, in the coalition with Lib Dem. Then he stood down the day after the referendum result as well, that being the chicken shit that he is, and the privileged, pampered Etonian didn't want to have to go through the mire of that, so he stepped down. Theresa May came in. She lost the majority. That brought Johnson in, of course, who took us through the COVID years. Then, of course, very briefly, who isn't mentioned in the list, Liz Truss, then Sunak, and now here we are with Starmer. So out of those candidates, roughly, whereabouts would you put Starmer for net favourability? And you've got some real bastards in that list, you really do. Nina said, do you think the score will be so low that mathematicians have not invented a number to describe it yet? Well, they look sort of the opposite of Graham's number, as it were. The absolute zero. Yeah, Graham's number is the one that is, according to mathematicians, the longest number that exists. They can't tell you how big it is, but it definitely ends in a 7. That's far too complicated for me to explain just on this semi-professional YouTube live stream. Okay. Shall we see then? Shall we see how he fares? I'll go over to the screen. So pretty much, people, it's the worst. It's the worst. Look at this. Bottom of the pile. Absolute bottom. 100% bottom of the pile. Sorry about the background music being a bit weird there for a moment. Bleeds through into another channel. But minus 33, and when you look, Thatcher was, like, air quotes only, minus 6 after 300 days. Naturally, it would have gone down after that, but that's on an even keel with David how do you spell that? Cameron. Sunak minus 22, Gordon Brown minus 30. Keir Starmer there on minus 33. Look at Slick Tony there on plus 46 after 300 days. That soon faded, didn't it? Of course, that would have still, what would that have been, 1998-ish? That was still a few years before the Iraq War. Yeah. Plus 46. John Major was on plus 21 after 300 days. This is a guy who nearly took us out of the European exchange rate mechanism. Yeah. Pretty bad. But still a plus 21. Well, I'd say I've never seen anything like it, but apparently nobody else has either. So that's from Britain Elects there. Do share your thoughts on that with me in the chat or back if you're watching back later on in the comments. And there's more mud to sling at Starmer to come as we get through the latest in the Iran versus Israel conflict. Is it a war? Is it a war? Check out that video from yesterday if you've not seen it yet. I'd like your 2 cents on that as well. They've both said it's a war. this is an act of war, for example. Again, excuse me, not being hyperbolic, not wanting to report on war. I really do not. But there's a whole bunch of rich people out there who've got a lot invested in war, believe me. Shareholders at Lockheed Martin, you know, BAE, these kind of people. Dark and dirty money. Here's some of the latest though. There's been multiple targets hit in Israel. Tel Aviv and Haifa are the two main ones. Here's some footage from that. I've switched the audio off on these. There's a track in the background that I think is copyrighted, so I won't play that. But you can see multiple targets being hit there. The Iron Dome system certainly doesn't seem impenetrable. That's been proven several times over the last few days. Herbie, can we have that again? And just before I came to you, as I said, confirmed hits in Haifa. Ben Gurion Airport has also been hit. Of course, all the airports in Israel are closed. Airspace in neighbouring Jordan has also shut as well. 3 military bases are confirmed to have been hit. The mainstream media are just going where Israel points to. Unfortunately, they'll concentrate on areas of Tel Aviv that have been shelled. But I've not got the small violin out. They don't like it up, and certainly don't. They've been out saying, oh, you know, we had to run to the shelters and all this and feel sorry for us. Just skip the part where you directly, without sanction, without warrants, attacked another country in violation of international law. They can put it out there, but they can't take it. It's that's the sick Zionist mentality. Or you saw. That's some of the latest footage of them getting a bit of that back earlier today. I'm going to go on to Yanis Varoufakis now, who I mentioned earlier, with regard to Keir Starmer, his current attitude towards military spending and the industrial military complex, which, if you are watching from the UK, as most of the viewers are, you should be deeply concerned about this, because it's taken us down a very, very dark path with your money, with public money.
It's not just in the United Kingdom, it's across Europe. It's the revival of military Keynesianism, the idea that you will spur growth through investing in guns, in weapons, in missiles, in building up your army. Military Keynesianism can work. It worked under Hitler. Within 2 years, Hitler eliminated his unemployment problem and really raised living standards substantially. This is why he became so popular. Now, the problem with that is if you make the factories work at full blast, producing tanks and ammunition and bullets and all that stuff, at some point the warehouses fill up. And then politically it's very difficult to explain why you keep spending money when your warehouses are full. So
yeah, sorry people, sorry population of the country, we can't eat all these tanks, we can't eat all these helicopters, we can't drink gunpowder cocktails and survive. So unfortunately, war it is. And well, this is specifically to the period in time which Yanis is referring to here, yeah, the guy who he's referring to later turned round and said, well, you can't complain about this. You can't complain about the fact that our cities are being razed to the ground because you gave us the mandate for it, didn't you? So you essentially signed your own death warrants. And that is what the fascist regime in Germany did at the bitter end in the bunker. That was the narrative. That was the excuse. And an act of pure cowardice as they refused to surrender and made the population fight to the bitter end. It's sick. We've seen the same thing again.
You need to empty them. And the only way of emptying them is by starting a war, which is what Hitler did. Mr. Starmer, let's say that you're going to shift all your social funding away from schools, hospitals, and NHS, and you put it all into your military. Let's say that you do that. And you succeed in building up jobs and you start stocking up your warehouses with ammunition. Then what do? Then you have to start a war at some point. If you don't do that, then this growth spurt, even if it takes place for a year or two, it will die out. And all you will end up with is higher indebtedness. So are you going to do what the Americans are doing? Are we going to be starting a war every year or other year? If we don't do that, there will be no scope for military Keynesianism. So essentially, Mr. Starmer, you are lying through your teeth and you are trying to come up. I mean, your desperation is so evident. You try to come up with a policy of growth, which is really absolutely nonsensical. It is founded on hot air.
Yeah, and shout out to Declassified UK there. That was great as always from Yanis Varoufakis. I'll just bring the background music back up. Yeah. Another couple of points on that. Look at the things that we're mentioning there that are being sacrificed. Public services, the National Health Service, which ironically was created at the end of the last major war that we were involved with, which left the country financially on its knees and near bankruptcy. Davinia Robbins, thanks for joining us on the stream. Hope you've been well. Happy Socialist Sunday. So now, like with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, our involvement paints a massive target on our backs yet again. It's bringing the crosshairs of foreign states over here. I've got another clip from an Israeli spokesperson I've featured once or twice before, but he's always really good. I'm sure you've probably seen him before as well. Sayed Marandi, who's a professor as well. He knows his stuff, and he certainly knows how to handle mainstream media. He certainly knows how to handle the likes of Piers Morgan as well, which I think was one of the first interviews where I came across him. He looks as confident as he is. You can see that he knows how predictable a lot of the questioning that's put to him is going to be, and as always, he's very well prepared in his answers. So I think one of the other clips that was going around was of a Sky News presenter trying to paint a false narrative of the situation. Of course, at the moment, all the mainstream narrative surrounds Iran's nuclear capabilities, the fundamental, very important thing to remember is that they not only don't have them, they're not even looking to attain them. And that's been clear for some years now, that they're not looking to attain nuclear weaponry. They do have, of course, nuclear facilities, nuclear power facilities. They are a nuclear state in that sense, but they're not a nuclear state in terms of armaments. And he really does spell out the picture and the narrative in an excellent fashion here. So let's check out Professor Syed Marandi.
But as I said earlier, the real issue is not Iran's nuclear program. The real issue for the United States is Iran's support for the Palestinian people. That is it. Have no doubt that the nuclear program is nothing but an excuse. Have no doubt that Iran's missile program or its drone program, all of these are just excuses. What the United States wants is supremacy for the Zionist regime. And that is why it's putting pressure on Iran. So why do you think the United States wants to include regional issues alongside the negotiations with the nuclear program? Because they want to draw concessions from Iran in order to give concessions on the nuclear program. It wants Iran to end its support for Palestine. It wants Iran to be something like Turkey, where you host some Palestinians and you condemn Israel on television, but you do business and trade and you have political relations with the country, or the Emirates, or Egypt, or Jordan, or Morocco, or it doesn't matter. What they want is Iran to change its position, like Qatar, criticize the Israeli regime, but at the end of the day, do nothing in reality to oppose its hegemony and domination. Iran won't do that. Iran is not going to trade its support for the Palestinian people so that the United States will be more flexible with regards to sanctions and Iran's peaceful nuclear program. So that is why Iran won't separate the issues, because the issue for the United States is not the nuclear program. The issue for the United States is Palestine.
It is. It is. This distracts from the blockade in Gaza, as I mentioned. I'll get onto the latest in that a bit later in the stream. But it's a two-pronged approach. It distracts from that blockade at what they did to the flotilla as well, of course. All these illegal acts. And it's part of the wider plan, which is, again, no secret. This plan for a greater Israel. Netanyahu stood up at the United Nations and announced his plans for even, the 1930s, 40s regime that was mentioned just a short time ago really didn't do that at the beginning, during the period that Yanis Varoufakis was referring to. But no, right from the get-go. It's just mind-boggling how they expect, I should say, anybody with an IQ bigger than the shoe size to not know their intentions and to perceive Israel as the victims, as, air quotes, defending itself, when they've already illustrated their intentions as oppressors with not just one country, not just Palestine, with several countries in the region, including Iran, who they're now at odds with again. The same way with Iran's retaliatory attacks that have been happening over the last 48 hours, they expect us to forget what happened originally when they attacked their nuclear facilities. You can't attack people's nuclear facilities. Do they not have any idea how goddamn irresponsible that is, how goddamn dangerous that is? Fortunately, the damage to the facilities didn't result in any increased radiation levels, any kind of fallout or anything. Luckily, it could have been a lot worse, but that's what they were trying to do. That's what Israel were trying to do. I mean, now come on. The international courts just can't keep up. Are people in the future, when they look back and say, why didn't people do anything about this? The same way that we look back at the 1930s and the 1940s and say, why didn't we do anything about that? That is we, society, humanity, whatever you want to call it. But it's the same thing, so they need to get a move on, because examples like that are just case in point. And the rap sheet, the charges against Israel now are just beyond comprehension. When it does come to The Hague, which I do sincerely hope it does, it'll probably take the prosecution months to make the case, if not years. Such is the list of heinous activities that have taken place. And there's somebody else who I think has summed it up really well. This is an extended clip from an interview that Scott Horton did on American media. I don't know if you're familiar with Scott Horton, but similar to Professor Syed Morandi there, he really does lay it out spectacularly. I might come in just at one or two points in the clip, but I'll generally just play it out. It speaks for itself. So if you've not seen this yet, sit back and do enjoy, because it's good to see that there are people out there who are speaking out about it. At least not the entirety of the world is blind. We're very much in an era of propaganda. We're in an era of the mainstream media being very selective about what they do and do not show at the behest of certain people with certain amounts of wealth and influence. So it's good to see them being able to stand up to that in a sustained way, because we all know how quickly people telling the truth can get cut off. So do enjoy this from Scott Horton, and check out his other stuff as well.
This now, Scott Horton, editorial director of antiwar.com. Scott, appreciate you doing this. Do you think Israel has the right to do this and to defend itself? And or do you think that this is just a bad idea?
Well, yeah, two separate questions. The way you framed it was launching an aggressive war is defending itself, but that's just because you say it that way. In any other contest, of course, it's completely illegal. This is what Japan did to us at Pearl Harbor, the day of infamy, a surprise sneak attack against a country that wasn't attacking them. And so that was what was going on here. And the fact is, they were in the middle of negotiations. And the reporting now is that Trump was actually shining the Iranians on and was pretending to negotiate with them and was telling them,
let's just insert a couple things.
Statements that he had.
It was Israel that was attacked on October 7th by an Iranian proxy and by Hezbollah. It was also Israel that was attacked by Iran. It was also U.S. troops that were attacked by Iran. Nevertheless, who in their right mind would allow someone, a regime that runs around chanting death to America, death to Israel, or if someone was running around chanting death to Scott Horton, would you want them to have a nuclear bomb?
Well, the thing of it is, as I'm sure you must know, as
just wanted to come in there. What a ridiculous word salad of a question that was. It wasn't even a question, really. You just sort of, stapled something on the end. Let's just hear a bit of that, because I want to go through it. Obviously, we're more than aware that the Israel was defending itself October 7th thing is just completely out the window, complete bullshit.
Israel that was attacked by Iran. It was also U.S. troops that were attacked by Iran. Nevertheless, who in their right...
Well, I suppose the US troops were just going about their own business, were they? Not having anything to do to interfere with Iran. in what you would call an unprovoked attack, so they certainly weren't doing any provoking.
Mind would allow someone, a regime that runs around chanting death to America, death to Israel, or if someone was running around chanting death to Scott Horton, would you want them to have a nuclear bomb?
If someone was running around, you know, chanting your name and death to you, would you want them to have a nuclear bomb? Well, they haven't got a nuclear bomb. They're not trying to look for a nuclear bomb. Whether they have or are looking for one, this is not how you stop them. There are official processes, of course, with this kind of thing. It just doesn't give you carte blanche to go into another country, like this guy's suggesting. That was just completely ridiculous. Of course, he's the full overriding narrative is the implication of regime. You'll very often hear the word Iran twinned with the word regime. That's something that's been called out in previous interviews as well by Sayed Morandi and others. So this guy's going along with that, but it just doesn't wash because they don't have nukes at the end of the day.
Well, the thing of it is, as I'm sure you must know, as the CIA and the rest of the intelligence community concluded back in 2007, Iran stopped even researching into how to make a nuclear bomb after George Bush got rid of Saddam Hussein for them. They had no more need for a nuclear weapon at that time. They opened up their books.
That's how long ago it was.
Everyone watching this knows that Netanyahu has said they're a few weeks away from a bomb for the last...
And Saddam Hussein's been dead for a long, long time now, hasn't he? So that just goes to show how ridiculous the suggestion of that is. Because they don't have any need for him, as Scott's just pointed out.
20 years, they still don't have a single one. And in February, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, put out the threat assessment, the annual threat assessment. Everyone can read it at dni.gov. And it says that they have not made the decision to begin to pursue a nuclear weapon.
You don't think that the Israelis have better intelligence? Come on.
No. Look, there's nothing saying that late Israeli claims of recent advancement are true. No one else is confirming that at all. In fact, what they had all along, Leland, was a latent nuclear deterrent. It's the same as Germany or Japan or Brazil, where they had shown that they had perfected the fuel cycle. They know how to make nuclear weapons fuel, but they're not making it. And so what has happened here is with this attack, I know you want to hoist up your mission accomplished banner, but with this attack, they're actually more likely to pursue nuclear weapons now, whereas before they actually were not pursuing
Germany
them,
and Brazil,
despite your begged question in your question.
Germany and Brazil.
Exactly. If they're going to be treated this way when they don't have and aren't pursuing nuclear weapons, then they may as well try and get them anyway if people are going to act like they are. Just as a sort of, I don't know, they might see it as a last case scenario or whatever. You've also got to consider the fact that one of the biggest enemies, i.e. Israel, of course, and the United States, are both nuclear armed states, which would give Iran perhaps an incentive to follow suit as a deterrent. But again, they don't. They resist because they're more than aware that if they give Israel or the United States any excuse whatsoever, then they'll take it. But yeah, back to the fact that that's happening, even though they've not got them.
A few things. Don't run around chanting death to America or death to Israel. For that matter.
And they weren't making nuclear weapons either.
They don't like free speech all of a sudden, the neocons.
I'm trying to figure out is why destabilizing a regime that has made its sole mission to destroy Israel and, for that matter, to destroy the United States, why that would be a bad thing.
Well, George W. Bush told Ehud Olmert absolutely not back in 2007 because the Pentagon told him that it would be too reckless, that Iran is not Iraq, which was already bad enough and way worse than Bush thought it was going to be, and that Iran would not be a pushover and that they would have escalation dominance in the region, that they could threaten our soldiers in Iraq, which we still have thousands of soldiers in Iraq. We also have tens of thousands, as you just show on your map there, in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and Saudi. $1 trillion worth of economic targets.
Scott,
all
I
up and down
understand.
the
I
Persian
understand all
Gulf.
that.
They can close the Straits of Hormuz. They can close the Straits of Hormuz.
I know.
Yeah, that's something else that's been mentioned in the chat. I wanted to bring that up as well. The 90 nuclear weapons that Israel have all come without them signing the Non-Proliferation Treaty. So they're not even legally legitimate weapons in the first place.
I understand all the bad things that can happen. I understand all the bad things that can happen. This is the exact same things that the Iranians were doing. Okay, they were attacking U.S. soldiers. The problem is, once Iran gets a nuclear bomb, there were more than 150 attacks by Iranian proxies against U.S. interests during the Biden administration. We just all conveniently forgot about it. But I continue. The issue here, and the reason the world is safer, is because once Iran got a nuclear bomb or was on the point beyond the point of no return, they could act with absolute impunity. They could do all the bad things you said, and the world couldn't do anything to them because they had a nuclear bomb.
Here's the thing of it. We had a deal before
that they kept breaking.
That they were not in violation of, that Donald Trump tore up at Netanyahu's behest in 2018. Under that deal,
why do you hate Benjamin Netanyahu so much?
If they decided to break out and try to create a nuclear,
why do you hate Benjamin Netanyahu so much? Well, how long have you got, pal? Really? Is that a joke? Is that a rhetorical question? Like, what planet are you living on? Why should anyone like him so much? Gee, come on. You're the program, fella.
Nuclear weapon, it would have taken them at least a year to get enough fissile material to even make one, much less complete the process of making one. That was the deal Trump tore up. At that time, any enriched uranium, why don't you let me finish? Anytime they enriched uranium,
because half of the things you're saying isn't true and the other half are wrong.
France, they had no stockpile of enriched uranium because they shipped it all out to France to be made into fuel rods and then be shipped back into the country under the old deal. It was after Trump withdrew from the deal at Netanyahu's behest that they then began to stockpile the enriched uranium that you're referring to that makes them that much closer to the bomb. Trump could have just got back in the deal and called it the Trump deal instead of the Obama deal, and all of this would have been fine.
It was a bad deal to begin with. I still don't understand why you believe that we should allow a country that has shown a willingness to launch terror attacks on the United States, kill Americans, launch and support terrorists around the world and attack our allies. Why even take the risk that they could possibly get a nuclear bomb?
That's funny. You know, I wonder how you think that after Iraq and Somalia and Libya and Mali and Syria and Ukraine and Afghanistan, that the United States of America ought to be in charge of bombing countries, changing their regimes, fixing anything, especially in the Middle East, especially what Netanyahu wanted. He's the one who said, if we got rid of Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. Most of the consequences of this come from the United States of America going around the Middle East and fucking things up for decades. Again, removing democratically elected leaders to put in proxy puppets to do their bidding for them, and waging war between countries. It just happens to be that the territory involved contains a large amount of natural mineral resources and fossil fuels, but that's just a coincidence. Don't look too much into that either, people. No, they just want to fight for freedom and peace with guns and bombs. Fuck yeah.
for him, then everything would be that peace would reverberate throughout the region. But instead, we put Iran's best friends in power in Baghdad, a war I'm sure you supported too. And then now we supported Al Qaeda, Mujahideen in Syria, because they are enemies of Iran's friends in Syria.
The idea that
you support that? You support Al Qaeda in Syria?
Oh yeah, you can't mention the Mujahideen, the support of the Mujahideen. That was in the 1980s. Donald Rumsfeld gave them a shitload of weaponry as well as Saddam Hussein, of course. But for the Mujahideen to fight the USSR in the 80s, but don't mention that they then turned into Al Qaeda, that the CIA basically created Al Qaeda, which means database. It's a literal translation.
I spent a lot of time in the places that you just talked about, but that beside the point. So are you saying under no condition? So under no condition should a country? This was not the United States bombing Iran, by the way. This has been Israel. There's a distinction. Is there no country that has?
I don't see any distinction whatsoever between the United States of America and Israel. It's not with tongue in cheek that we refer to Israel as the 51st state of America. No. The very existence of Israel was for the creation of a state that would apply the will of the West in the Middle East, for control within the Middle East. That's what it was all about. That's what it's been about for 80 years. So, yeah, the two go hand in hand. There's no way, it's inconceivable that the United States of America could see sense and turn on Israel, because they'd be turning on themselves, really. A lot of the time, though, the tail's been wagging the dog, and they've given a large amount of control to an unhinged, deluded, despotic maniac who's now running the pariah 51st state of America as it should properly be known by rights.
The right to keep its enemies, its sworn enemies, from getting a nuclear weapon?
Well, Truman did not attack the Soviet Union to prevent them from getting nukes, and Johnson did not invade China to prevent them from getting nukes. Mao Zedong was by far the worst person who ever lived, the most dangerous person who ever lived. We didn't launch a preemptive war against them, and they haven't used it.
Yeah, if they're against countries who have nuclear weapons, then why aren't they marching? Well, there is obviously the proxy war at the moment in Ukraine, but when the USSR were acquiring said nuclear weapons during the Cold War period, there wasn't any actual invasion of the country by proxy or otherwise. There were later attempts, obviously, such as ones I just mentioned with the Mujahideen, so on and so forth, but no. If nuclear weapons is your number one concern, then why don't you attack, I'll just check the list here, Russia and then yourselves? Yeah.
Nuclear weapon a single time. Only the United States has used nuclear weapons.
So you believe religious fanatics who chant death to America, death to Israel aren't a little bit different than the Soviet Union and China? Come on. I mean, you're putting an awful lot of weight. You're putting an awful lot of weight in somehow the fidelity and
you
goodness.
You think Mao Zedong's a better man than the Ayatollah, huh? We got you on tape, buddy.
Okay. I don't understand what your point is.
That Mao Zedong killed 40 million people.
Yeah.
You must not know anything about communism.
I know plenty about Mao and that he killed 4 million people. I'm not sure how I said he was better or worse than the Ayatollah.
4 million? Is that what you just said?
Okay. All right.
He killed 40 million people.
I understand that, Scott.
Million.
I understand that, Scott. I'm just trying to figure out why we would let another fanatic get a nuclear weapon.
Well, again, you're begging the question with your
Have you ever spent time in Israel?
Iran mastered the fuel cycle 20 years ago.
Scott, have you ever spent any time in Israel?
Iran mastered the fuel cycle 20 years ago, and they haven't made a single atom bomb.
Scott, have you ever spent any time in Israel? Scott, have you ever spent time in Israel?
No, I have not been there.
So you've never been under the threat of Iranian missiles.
Have you ever been to Iran? Have you ever
No,
been to
because they won't give me a visa.
Well, if I went to Israel, usually not one to hold my tongue in certain situations, I'd probably get detained, arrested, and deported post haste. No, there's a lot of good reasons not to go to Israel. Why does he think that that's going to win him the argument?
A Natanz
They
facility?
won't give me a visa.
Okay.
Because they don't want
so
journalists
you
there,
don't
because they
know.
won't answer questions, because they imprison Americans and
So
execute
how do
anybody
you
who
know they're
speaks out
making a
against the
nuclear
regime.
bomb if you've never been?
Okay. Because they say they want one.
No, they don't. They have disavowed nuclear weapons
Then
over
why would-
and
then
over
why
again.
won't-
He's really cloth-eared, this guy, on the News Nation post. Sorry, forgotten what he's called, but Scott Horton's doing a really good job here. You've got to give every credit to him. It's ridiculous. He's informed you several times that they're not interested in one, and I've got something else to back that up in just a moment.
They let journalists in.
They're
Why
members
won't they
of the
let journalists in,
Non-Proliferation
Scott?
Treaty.
If they
All you
don't,
got is misinformation,
No,
dude.
It's Israel who don't let journalists in. Why don't you go and do News Nation, from Gaza?
don't let
You
anybody
can't
in.
make a
Okay,
point
James,
without
this is the
lying.
point. Scott, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
That's pretty much the end of the interview. Yeah, sure, you appreciate it. That's why you hound him, talk over him, and ignore the facts that he presents to you. Of course you do. Go off yourself, but very well done there, Scott Horton. Go and check out his other stuff. So apologies for the source. It's actually from Declassified UK, but it features a clip from LBC with James O'Brien. No, I'm not a fan of James O'Brien. There are some things he talks sense about, back in the day. It was Donald Trump's first term. He's very good at slinging mud at the MAGA crowd, for example. I've certainly see him as one of the people responsible for the attacks on Corbyn back in the day. So I can't really say I'm a fan of his, but he does speak facts about certain things, and he is one of the presenters here in the UK that seem to be turning round on the issue of Gaza. The other thing with LBC, of course, remember in the past, they've immediately sacked presenters for holding Israeli spokes to account properly. But Golden Boy, James O'Brien, when he seems to sort of come around and realise the truth, it's a totally different case, which is a real shame. But the examples that he cites here are actually correct.
In what year do you think Benjamin Netanyahu first warned that Iran was 3 to 5 years away from building a nuclear bomb? He wrote a book in 1995, didn't mention the fact that he'd pledged 3 years previously that they'd have a bomb within 3 years. Instead, he repeated the claim that Iran would have the bomb this time by 5 to 7 years at the most, which would mean that 2002 at the latest would be the point. 7 years after that, he told the visiting US congressional delegation that Iran was just 1 to 2 years away from having a nuclear weapon. So it would have then been by 2011. And now he's making exactly the same claim to justify the bombing of Iran overnight. The same claim that he has been making since at least 1992.
There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever.
This man's lies killed thousands of U.S. soldiers and hundreds of thousands of civilians. In the wise words of Einstein, it is inconceivable that those who once opposed extreme nationalism could support such a party in Israel.
That's true. Don't forget the past. And when you see history repeating, which it seems to be at the moment, got to stand up to it. That's some of the latest. I've just got the live news feed here. The main exchanges of fire here today seem to have been with Haifa as one of the main targets, and Tehran on the Iranian side as well. Israel, it's just been reported a few minutes or so ago, claiming that they've killed another Armed Forces intelligence chief. That's just some of the latest, but I'll get back to that after I've been over a couple of other things. Just want to check that I've been through everything on that matter before I move on. We're going to talk a little bit more about Gaza. Oh, there were just a couple of more things. Obviously, we've seen this, like I mentioned earlier, the RAF have been refuelling Israeli Air Force craft at a UK base in Cyprus. That's something else which brings the UK into the fold. Mentioned in a recent video, it was confirmed by Luke Pollard in Parliament that the IDF are currently being trained in the UK as well. Although he says a limited number of IDF forces, but to me that sounds the same as when the Tories were breaking the law in a specific and limited way. And we've also sent jets over there as well, it's been confirmed. China are confirmed to have sent some equipment over as well, and just finally, I mentioned Pakistan earlier. They've made essentially a direct threat. They have said that should the United States or Israel attack Iran with nuclear weapons, then they will find themselves the target of a Pakistani nuclear attack as well. But it's not World War III, honest. Oh, and just before I get on to Gaza as well, look at this, yeah, about Musk potentially changing sides. He's offered to activate his Starlink satellites to be able to provide internet to Iran during the widespread internet blackout. This will obviously be bad news to Donald Trump. I dare say it's no coincidence that this has come amid them having a falling out. I wonder if Trump's going to make any comment on that. I'm not sure if he's done so already. I can't say I follow him on social media. The only time I see his stuff, it's when other people are taking the piss out of it, so I certainly don't go looking for it myself. Now, would you have thought that a few months ago? Yeah. Elon Musk assisting a apparently now an enemy of the state. A state's enemy of the states, of the United States of America. And look at the state of that. Tonight's live stream is sponsored by the word state. So the next bit, just getting on to Gaza now. This was something I didn't have time to squeeze in to the last live stream. But now all of the detained participants of the Freedom Flotilla have been released, have been deported back to their respective countries. And one of the 12, Yasmin Akar, had a lot to say when she got back to the airport. I think this is definitely worth a look. We heard from Greta Thunberg earlier in that extended interview, so check this out because it's bang on the money, people.
The world know that the 12 people going on the Medellin. We were on a humanitarian mission, trying to challenge the illegal siege over a decade old. And now during the genocide, they put a siege on top of a siege. They're using starvation as a weapon of war. Today, children are being starved, hundreds and thousands. And our mission was to challenge that. We are a non-violent mission. We carry no weapon at all. And Israel kidnapped us in international waters. They have no jurisdiction in where we were. We were 100 nautical miles away from the Palestinian territory, which is Gaza. They kidnapped us against our will, brought us and jailed us for almost 4 days. They did something illegal. They are breaching international law while occupying Gaza. And the international community needs to stop its complicity. They need to stop sending weapons. They need to send aid instead of weapons. And Germany, I'm a German citizen. This country just last week said that they will send weapons. I'm doing what my country, what my government is supposed to do. But Germany chooses to starve children. Germany chooses to bomb children, to bomb mothers and fathers. There's no water. It's been 4 months. Not one bottle of water entered Gaza. Not one piece of bread entered Gaza. Why is it that 12 people had to do what the international community was supposed to do? Why do we risk our lives? But I want to say one more thing. Our lives are not more worth than the lives of the people in Gaza. This was our message to the world, that we stand in solidarity. The aid that we brought was a drop in the ocean. But that drop carries a big message to our governments, to their complicity, and to the ones that kept silent for 20 months. We went there and yes, people say we risked our lives, but again, our lives are not more worth than our sisters and brothers in Gaza. And the world must rise. We all have to rise together. I'm pleading to you. I'm begging you, get up. What is happening in Gaza is not normal. For 20 months.
Breach, absolutely, yeah. Rise up, people, do what you can. We haven't forgotten about the blockade of Gaza, despite Israel's best efforts to distract us with their attacks on Iran. I've still been trying to find some information about the Turkish/Tunisian convoy, which was set to arrive on Thursday, so that's a few days ago now. I was hoping there'd be some big news in that regard, but I've not been able to find anything just yet. I'll keep you up to speed with that. Of course, I still feel immensely proud of those who were on the Freedom Flotilla. Job well done. I'm just glad that everybody managed to return safely. Here's another social media post from a singer called Kalani, who of course has faced the usual systemic accusations of anti-Semitism following her criticism of Israel's actions in Gaza. So let's just see her very well put response to those bullshit accusations.
As I sit here and I'm working on my album, and I just so happen to be in the presence of my Jewish and Palestinian best friend and my Jewish engineer, I am being asked and called to clarify and make a statement yet again for the millionth time that I am not anti-Semitic nor anti-Jew. I am anti-genocide. I am anti the actions of the Israeli government. I am anti an extermination of an entire people. I'm anti the bombing of innocent children, men, women. That's what I'm anti. In fact, the very first live that I did in the beginning of this genocide was with a really beautiful Jewish organization called Jewish Voices for Peace. And I still continue to learn from and work alongside really impactful Jewish organizers against this genocide. I want to be very clear in stating that I do believe God has plans for me, and that's not going to stop nothing that I have going on. But I'm asked to clarify because this keeps coming up as a means to silence me, as a means to stop things that happen in my career, as a means to change the course of my life. And I just don't believe that. So here's the clarification that you needed. I hope this is everything you needed straight from my mouth, not a written statement with a white background from my notes. This is straight from me. You can see my face saying it. So here you go. Back to my album.
Kalani there. Can't say I'm familiar with her material, but that came across my desk. I'm going to check some of it out actually. Let's see where all this comes from, but I thought that was a really good response. Do check her stuff out. Thanks for throwing up the Palestine flag there, Sneaky Fish. Yes, solidarity, of course, as always, with Palestine. We've got MIDI Doctors joining us in the chat as well, and Graham Turner. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining us on the stream. Morbius as well. How you doing? Red Earth. Awesome stuff. So speaking of awesome stuff, these demos against Trump in America, they're not my king demos. I've got a couple of videos of that coming up. So yes, let the pylon commence. Yeah, his birthday celebrations didn't turn out too well. I think I saw someone else in the chat earlier referring to perhaps the same clip that I've seen of one soldier walking along, literally just holding a small helicopter drone, as though it were a kid with a toy, you know, and then doing it like the radio voice, whatever. And then the soldiers coming by, I say marching, but just literally sauntering by in such a uncoordinated fashion. And you might have seen some clips that compare the sort of military parades that you get in other countries. For example, North Korea has been one that I've seen used in a couple of examples, and just comparing that to these lackadaisical troops who just really look like they don't want to be there at all. Empty rafters, empty stands, an empty park where the concert was happening. The expected attendance, according to Trump, 200,000. Actual attendance, 1,000. 1,000. Serves him right, and that's what you get. And in cities all across America, they were taken out to the streets as well. So even areas that you would consider safe haunts, as it were, for the MAGA crowd, even in the heart of Texas, Dallas, Texas, there were hundreds of thousands of people out on the streets protesting Trump, protesting the Republican Party, protesting the capitalist regime. So let's check this out from Dallas. Well, look at that. Yeah, there's not really any, there wasn't really any audio on the clip other than the hum of a helicopter. You can see the streets there absolutely packed with people, and there were similar scenes in New York. I've got a very brief clip of this one. But look at that. Look at that. Not sure exactly where that is geographically in New York. If any, well, the people are covering all of the road. It's difficult to even see the road markings. Hundreds of thousands of people out there again. I hear some people saying they were up to or exceeding 1 million in New York. Wow. That sure is something. Just keeping my left eye on the live news feed. See if anything else is coming through from Iran. Has Netanyahu come out from his hidey hole in Greece yet? Does anybody know? I know he's made some sort of statement earlier today, but where did that come from? Just want to re-emphasise that cowardice as well, you know. Okay, I've attacked another nation which will of course respond very quickly and in kind. I'm out of here. You stay here and get blown to bits, but I do love my country and its people, of course. Remind me again, Bibi, are any of the hostages from October the 7th being held in Iran? No? Oh, that's strange, because that seems to be one of your only reasons for attacking other countries. So what I mentioned earlier, the unconfirmed report about the intelligence chief has been confirmed. I'll try and get this up on the screen now, actually. Mohammed Kazemi is his name. So this has been confirmed. He's the head of the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps, or IRGC, Guard Corps, I should say. The Tasnim news agency and Iranian state TV say he died along with his deputy Hassan Mohakek and Commander Mohsen Bakiri. That was in attacks earlier today. But Israel have also said that they're not going to stop striking even if the Iranian attacks continue. Not that they're fanatic maniacs or anything like that, you know. What can you say? That's the confirmation there. So I'll check the audio levels, because I'm not wanting to jinx myself, people, but you might have noticed so far that there haven't been any technical problems with the microphone. Oh, these poor... What's happened with these poor people? Was the small violin case. Phil, go and get the small violin. I might be needing that promptly. Phil's the mute producer who definitely exists, but just never appears on the channel. Tourists are stuck in Israeli airspace, as is Israeli airspace remains closed. Well, don't go on holiday to Israel then. And all these others, oh, you know. All we did was illegally occupy another country, and now look at all this. Ten people suffer light injuries in Haifa. Iranians are leaving the capital of Tehran. And Israel have been accused of deliberately striking on foreign ministry buildings, which of course again would be against international law. It's been confirmed that Trump vetoed the Israeli plan to attack the leaders. So it's unabashed now. It's all unabashed, isn't it? They're not doing the thing of, you know, meetings at night, underground car parks, exchanges of briefcases and money. It's just out in the open, because it's the who's going to stop us attitude, the exceptionalism that is so beset within the American and Israeli Zionist mindset that they think they can get away with anything. It's our responsibility, as well as other world leaders, to prove that that isn't true. Got to be held to account, the same way that apartheid leaders in South Africa were held to account, the same way that the leaders of other regimes. And where Netanyahu's concerned, we're going to need a modern day Nuremberg. That seems to be the latest. There's perhaps a pause in the exchange at the moment. They're some hours ahead of us, of course, chronologically as well, but I'll just try and keep my eye on any developments. Emma Richardson, thanks for joining us in the chat. Let's see what some of you are saying about all this. I agree, though, MIDI doctors utterly isolated. That's what Israel are at the moment. Everybody thinks that they're appalling. Yeah, John Pullen, I noticed as well, yeah, during that interview, that there weren't any BBC or CNN microphones. They're not exactly rushing to get the testimony from the Freedom Flotilla, were they? Emma Richardson, good comment there. Yeah, just again, the exceptionalism. It's almost like that classic, I don't know if you've ever seen that, a clip of Richard Nixon, I think it was during his interview with David Frost, who used to be a journalist and presenter here in the UK. But when he said, he's obviously describing an illegal act that he's done that would be illegal for us, but he says, when the president does it, it is not illegal. That's the way that Israel think. Good point there, Emma. But of course it is. And let's hope that they have their day at The Hague. Antonia, thank you very much for joining us. Happy Socialist Sunday. Thanks for throwing up the, what have we got? Plethora. Palestine flags, Great Britain, tea. Well, it's not a weekday live stream, but tea's always welcome. My left eye. Yeah, Nixon, the guy who did himself in by secretly recording all of his conversations in the Oval Office. Whoops. Yeah, sneaky fish. Those interviews are, pretty much legendary at this point now. They were definitely significant. I've never seen that there was a film actually of it. I don't think I've seen it. Let me get this right. Oh, sorry, I forgot the name of the actor who would have played David Frost in it. He's famously impersonates other famous people as well. And he's a sound guy as well, actually. He does a lot of work for charity. And, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. But I've still not seen that one. Should check it out. Just have another scan around the news. That's a no shit Sherlock headline. Won't bother going into that one. UK advises against all travel to Israel. Yeah. I wasn't exactly packing my bags there, people. I don't know. Oh, no, you've ruined it. Oh. Sorry. I'll have to phone up the guys. The 2 weeks in Tel Aviv, it's off. Oh, this was going to be the trip of a lifetime. No. I'll go there when the Palestine flag rightfully flies above its rooftops. Thank you very much. We'll just see if there's any. Just take a look at a few more photographs from the Not My King Day. This is just off the Beeb article. I've not seen this yet, so. That would have been good to be there, wouldn't it? Bit of a trek from where I'm streaming from. I would have liked to have been in on that one. So you can see a lot of them are they're dressed in Civil War era garb, tricorner hats and so on and so forth. There he is at his parade. You can see a lot of grass there. Even when, you know, I'm sure that for a lot of the shots they would have tried to pile people up to the front and make it look as though the crowds were bigger than they actually were. But look at that. At any event, you know. Even local festivals here around Manchester that we have would garner bigger crowds than this, and that'd be something like nostalgia acts from bygone decades playing, or a series of tribute acts, you know, to classic artists, whatever. But you'd get more than 1,000 people there. Oh, look at that! The big balloons have come out again. The Trump in his diaper. Or nappy, as we say here in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, of course. Seems somewhat indifferent to his own parade there in that picture. The parade was a way to say thank you, says absolute sucker Melvin Graves, who's apparently a proud army veteran. There. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. That's disappointing. Not only to see army veterans pandering to the United States president, the pumpkin spice Palpatine. But he's certainly maybe a little on the deluded side there. A protester in Los Angeles throws a tear gas canister backwards towards police. So it's been pretty quiet in the news recently. Last couple of days, the protests in LA. But there was that overturning of the judge's decision not to allow the National Guard in, wasn't there? So I could only see Trump trying to take full advantage of that perhaps misguided decision. So not going well by all accounts. Oh dear. Happy birthday. Oh yeah. Bit of a washout as well. So all that happening in the rain. Save that one for the highlights reel. Slow motion with the rain coming down. Okay, people, try and carry on with something equally, if not more uplifting than seeing Trump's birthday party getting ruined. This is the last play of the Bruise at 10. Bruise at 10, the album Volume 10, I should say. Oh, just bear with me, people. Christ. I'm not sure if you can hear me right now. The YouTube studio has crashed. But I am still streaming. I was just about to go over to the Bruise at 10, the album Volume 10, but just quickly attend to this. Okay, that's just reloading now. That is the chat. Are we back? The Truth is here as well. Yeah, you get more at Park Life than you do at Trump's birthday party. So the audio is still good. Thanks for that feedback, and we should have the picture up any moment now. Alright, there we go. All these things happen from time to time, you know.
As you can see, a minor technical difficulty here on my left eye. Our team of expertly trained technicians are working busily to restore the stream. In the meantime, please make sure that you've hit the thumbs up button harder than you'd like to hit Keir Starmer in the Ghoulies, and left a comment down below. Thank you.
So we're all good there. Okay then, where was I? Yes, the Bruise at 10, the album Volume 10. This will be the last play for this week's before a new edition comes out tomorrow, so feel free to add your T-based suggestions for songs and artists in the chat or the comments if you're watching back on a replay.
Do you
like a hot, tasty beverage with your music? Then My Left Eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album. All your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 10 is now available, featuring Nothing Compares to TU, Sinead O'Connor, Get On Cup, James Brown, Hold Tea, Thrill Tea, Kiss Tea, Kill Tea, Brew 2, You Can't Brew That, The Beatles, Tea in the Sahara, The Police, plus many more. Order now.
Alright then, that's volume 10 of The Brews at 10, the album. Don't look at me like that, Herbie. You know, you've just got to do some tea-based songs and you can get a song on the album. You get plenty of free plugs here on the Sunday streams anyway. Sorry, just the a bit of a sly look from the leader of the background band. Okay, glad the audio's been coming through clear as a bell. Yeah, it was just I lost the picture on YouTube Studio. I had to refresh that. It's just the bit that shows me all my viewers and whatnot, and the chat, of course. We're going to pop back into the fondue lounge now, people. So what I'm really going to be looking out for in the coming week, like probably increasingly serious hints that the UK is going to be putting boots on the ground in Iran. I don't think that Trump's going to be too hesitant about doing that. There's going to be a sort of an attempt at a show of force here from the bewigged orange one, unfortunately, and we'll have to as always, go hand in hand with the states. So that's something to look out for next week. Not great times, not great times. At the moment it just looks like a case of who's going to go first. We know who stands with who. It's part of what we know so far. So China have thrown the hat into this, Pakistan have thrown the hat into this. Obviously Putin is going to play a big part in this. All it'll take is one stupid mistake from Trump, which you certainly wouldn't put past him, and that could be it. Yeah, just peeking behind the curtains for mushroom clouds again, Odin. Could be something might have to get used to. It's only a matter of days before the Protect and Survive guide arrives through your door. Get under the table, paint yourself white. Or if you're multi-millionaire, mega rich, or perhaps a billionaire, you know, get yourself into one of these top-class expensive underground bunkers. He jokes. Well, no, seriously. We happen to just be, as a country, between America and Iran, geographically. But not sort of directly, but, you know. Keep your eyes to the skies, people. More to come from Keith and the gang during the week. Just quickly popping back in. Another thank you to all the members on the channel. You'll always get a shout out or two on the live streams and at the end of videos, just one of the many perks. For joining the Marvelous members, it's just 99p. If you want to consider supporting the channel in that way, make sure you've hit thumbs up on the stream as well, people. Give some of the recent content a share around your social media. Stick around, people. We're getting towards the end of the stream now, but I'm looking out for a potential raid. Sue might be around. We were going to raid into No Justice last time, and then No Justice raided into the Brews at 10 stream just as I was about to finish. I believe Helena's going on holidays now though, but we do have Kevin Logan. Equally excellent and does team up with No Justice very frequently. So that's where we'll be going. That's where you'll be joining me when you hang around, which I'm sure that you will, good people. This Socialist Sunday, let's go and show some solidarity with Kev and hit thumbs up on the stream when we get over. Raid into myself, it might break the internet. That's not an option, unfortunately. I hope you mean with the live stream as well. That wasn't any sort of euphemism. Yeah, go raid yourself. Alright, people. Without further ado, we'll go and join Kevin Logan. Thanks for joining me on the Sunday live stream. I've been your host. Lefty, you've been fantastic. I'll see you over on Kev's stream, or if not, take care. My left eye, be seeing you soon. Free Palestine.